Yeah, so there wasn't anything behind that side blade sheet, so we're going to move on. It was just another Gen 13 number 1, which I'm not going to submit unless something happens. Next we've got 2 Spawn books. Spawn number 30 and Spawn 27. Now, yeah, Spawn's another book that was just hugely popular. In fact, they made that horrible Spawn movie. And for me, the comics, like the entire Spawn run, where McFarlane, and I think he got some of the top artists in the industry to either write or do covers. I have a Silvestri cover that I did in one of my earlier videos. These are actually his covers, and that's just that invokes so much with Spawn there. So this is the Ku Klux Klan is in this story line, and it shows Al Simmons just basically, being lynched. So, and anyway, it's a very, the cover is very iconic. And so all the Spawn comics that I have, the art is just beautiful. I mean, say what you will about the subject matter, but the art itself is really well drawn. And this is really McFarlane at his best when he does stuff like this with Spawn. And then this is he's basically just has a big gaping hole in his chest, and he's got green blood, so somebody took him out. Another great cover, black cover. So let's go over this one. See, these are 2 books I would submit if they had 9.8 potential, because right now I think, I don't know if you, so shout out to Comic Tom 101. He's got a really great podcast and YouTube channel. I mean, you're probably already watching it or have checked it out. It's really becoming sort of the voice of comics on YouTube. There's a lot of people there doing comic videos, but a lot of them are doing it for like profit. I mean, so it comes off as they're just trying to make money off their books, like selling books. Whereas I think Comic Tom is really, like, you can see he has a real, like, genuine passion for comics. And so there's a difference when you listen to somebody who's just like specking on and like calculating how, to buy low and sell high, as opposed to just talking about story, like artists, creators, and that kind of content. It's really heads above the rest. So kudos to Comic Tom. He's local here in Washington. I really appreciate you, brother. You're great. I think you're great for the hobby, and it is a hobby, not a business. It's a hobby for most people, so it is for me. I'm not trying to sell these comics. I'm trying to just add them, sell them to basically fuel my hobby, which I think most collectors do. So, but some are just trying to make money. But anyway, Comic Tom, shout out to you. And so this Spawn book, let's take a look over here. Clean corner, clean corner, clean corner. I'm gonna assume that's a clean corner. Looks good. And I can't take this out. I put this really sticky tape on there, so it's pretty much just shut in there unless I decide to rebag and board it. So let's see if we can see anything. I don't see anything of concern through that tape. But this one right here, so this is actually the bag. I can feel that on the top of the bag there. So let me just kind of scoot it down, see what we're looking at. Okay, that gives us a better view. And just look over it. That's all. Nothing major. I'm seeing nothing major. You know, that's one thing. I love these black covers because I think anytime you have a black cover, the color pops, and it just makes a great cover that much more like memorable or just impactful. And so, but that's the caveat, right? Black covers are gonna have the little errors just scream out at you, but you know, that doesn't look half bad for an early 90s book. What do you think? 9.8 potential. Everything else looks good. I think we're gonna have to submit the Spawn 27 as well. We've got 7 books. Spawn number 27 is going into the 25 book submission, and then this one too. The only thing I see there is like a couple of, they're not really spine ticks or color breaking, they're little bends, and that can be pressed out. So little ink rub there. So with the clean and press, this one also looks pretty good. I think I want to submit all my Spawn books, just because, first of all, these covers are all great. So in a slab, you're going to get some collectors salivating. And these are 2 great covers. This one is great. I just like it. There's a little bit of I don't know, that's the bag, so that's not a bend. Yeah, I think we're good on this one. This one also has 9.8 potential. We'll submit this one too. So Spawns 27 and number 30. So we have 8 books. Great, we're getting to 25, easy. Okay, so there goes Spawn. Okay, so more Gen 13 goodness or badness, I guess, however you want to look at it. This is a 0 cover. So I'm really hoping Gen 13 does make somewhat of a comeback, because then all these things will be worth something. This, though, is my favorite of the Gen 13, and that's because it has this Jim Lee cover. As you know, I am a big fanboy of Jim Lee. So I am Korean American. Jim Lee is Korean American. But that's not the reason I like him. I like him because he's just one of the best comic book artists. I would put him as the best comic book artist of all time. Just if you're gonna rate somebody on just a body of work and having worked with the greats, and just if you look at his career, how he's gone from Marvel to DC, and what he's now the chief creative officer at DC, and what he's done for the industry, what he's doing for DC, that trying to revive interest in the publishing aspect. I think DC is doing all the right things in terms of managing their content. Now, they've been pretty unlucky with some of the movies, I think, and I think it's a challenge for anyone. When you have a character as iconic as Batman or as iconic as Superman. And something, it seems like Justice League would be easy to do, but to incorporate all those, weave all those storylines and make them work, and create all it takes years, and that's something I think Marvel did well. They took the time to build all these individual franchises and then weave them together, and so I think DC is trying to get there. So we'll have to see what happens with these upcoming movies. I'm very excited about the upcoming movies. I think most fans are, and I think most fans are ready to hop on the DC bandwagon. So again, Superman, despite my love for X-Men, Superman is my all-time favorite superhero, just because he's my first superhero. You never forget your first. In fact, Christopher Reeve's Superman is the sort of the epitome of superheroes. And in fact, Superman from the Golden Age, right? He's the what's the word I'm looking for? He's basically the mold that all these other superheroes have been cast through. So yeah, Superman hands down, number one. Now, do I have a lot of Superman comics? No, because I wasn't collecting until like the mid '80s, and I did read John Byrne's Superman, so that's did read that. And you read Superman, but you're so young, you don't really follow along. So yeah, for me, I got into X-Men. That's what really got me into comics. But anyway, I really digress there. But so anyway, Jim Lee. This is Jim Lee, cover of Gen 13. I don't know who that character is. I don't even remember this comic, to be honest. I read it, and I know it's really silly. It's like Gen 13. It's always like they're always like telling jokes and stuff. It's kind of like in the it's in the comic vein, but for me it just was like, I don't know, they weren't characters you could really gravitate towards. But anyway, she looks badass. She's got some kind of nunchuck, like a nunchuck weapon there. Jim Lee, yeah, Jim Lee art. Yeah, I will just buy anything Jim Lee, and he's done a lot. It's hard to really collect an artist like Jim Lee because he's drawn so much, and he's just so you just got to chip away. But for me, I'm focused on completing his X-Men run. In fact, I've got maybe 2 or 3 comics in that run left to go, so I'm pretty much there. But this is something, again, if Gem 13, let's create it. So let's see. It might be something I would want to create, because this cover, Jim Lee, it's having it graded might be nice. So let's see here. We're looking at the edge here. What is that? Is that a tick? I can't tell. So it's not a tick. It is like an impression. So that can be pressed out. We're still good. What's that? It doesn't look to be anything. Could be part of the cover. It is something. It's negligible. I don't think it's. Could be a piece of dust. Looks good. It looks good. I'm just gonna assume those corners are good. Because that corner is beautiful. So I don't think I've ever read this comic, so yeah, beautiful coloring, by the way. Beautiful coloring. That background is kind of, it's not great, but the foreground, oh man, she's looking badass. That's super classic Gimli right there. So yeah, Gen 13 7. Let's put it on the list. The Gimli cover. Yeah, these are all garbage. Some of these are just garbage books. This would just, if I got this graded, it would be for my personal collection. I don't think I'd want to sell this. These other books, no need for those. Okay, so we're through my Image comics, and we're going to continue now. We're moving into Marvel. So thank you for sticking through these gradings so far. We're going to continue on. Thank you.